Welcome back once again. It's time to, as always, lately, continue work on the tractor. I still have the drain pan to throw on there, but I think what we're gonna start with, we'll probably tackle that at some point, but I kind of want to get these fenders sorted out. So if you watched the last video where we got the head on, the rocker assembly, everything basically with the engine is kind of starting to get buttoned up. We still have to do our valve adjustment and all that stuff. But I also stated that we're gonna kind of scrap the 3-point idea here. So I'm probably gonna just temporarily kind of put that stuff back together and get this out of the way. This drawbar assembly, which is under all this, that's gonna go back on, and hopefully I can tighten these brackets up because these weren't 100% tight. And then I gotta try and figure out what I'm gonna do with the fenders, if I can mount them in these outside holes, or if I need to get extensions. I'd really like to not have to get extensions, but I guess if we have to, we have to. But first things first, they're gonna need prepped and they're gonna need painted because they look kind of trashy and they don't really match the paint on the tractor. Now I know what a lot of you are gonna say, that looks like trash, and that's perfectly fine, but this, and that's only one very thin coat. Basically, I just want the colors to match. This is not going to be a show tractor, this is gonna be a work tractor, 110% work tractor. So I'm not doing a full restoration on it, I'm not painting every single bolt, I'm not repainting the tractor in general, but I want the color to match. So this is gonna match the rest of the tractor body, and it's actually gonna give it that kind of, you know, old-fashioned, kind of weathered look, I guess. But I wasn't sanding this thing all the way down to the metal to make it like perfect. That's not my goal. My goal is just to make the colors kind of match, because this was really faded and it just wanted to look good. So this should make it look good as far as matching colors. Again, only one coat, some bare metal sides on this, or bare metal sticking through on this side. But there you can kind of see new paint, old paint. That's gonna look better. Even though it's not like a perfect glossy finish like a vehicle or a car, it's gonna look much better than that, and it's gonna match the tractor better than that, because ultimately, if you remember, if you've seen when we had the 504, these fenders came off of that. So entirely different tractor and entirely different, you know, kind of condition of paint. So I'm basically just trying to make everything match, as I said. Get rid of that little rigged up cup holder. I'm not sure if I mentioned or not, the radiator is no longer sitting there. And I may have mentioned it in a past video, I'm not really sure. But I did put an air test on that. Turns out there are no leaks in that thing, which is really good. That's great news. So the only problem with it is there is a lot of buildup. So I'm trying to clean that out, and it's getting a lot better. There is really good flow through it, but I'd just like to get a lot of that junk that's in there cleaned out, and, you know, corrosion, whatever it really is that's built up in there. And once I can get that to where I'm happy with it, then that can be installed. So that's gonna save us like 500 some bucks right there, that we don't have to buy a new radiator. So huge plus there. Using the same trick we used on the cylinder head, some brake cleaner with a little buff pad, scratch pad, get all that junk off of there so the gasket seals. There's before and there's after. Picked up another can of paint today. Got our first coat on this fender and we got 2 coats on this fender. They're not looking terrible for, you know, what it is. Like I said, I'm not completely taking this all down and redoing everything. It's just not my goal. I just want the colors to match. So while that one dries and that one dries, I think I did come up with a solution as far as mounting them. I think, unfortunately, as much as I didn't want to, I'll have to put them in there once they're dry and I can actually, you know, see what it looks like. But I think I'm just not gonna have enough room to get up on the tractor once they're on here by mounting them in their furthest most holes. So probably have to make a bracket or an extender and mount them out here close to the tire. And this tire is actually out further. This wheel is out further, so I'm gonna move this one back in, make these equal, and yeah, then, like I said, I'll probably see what they look like up here, but I'm pretty sure it's not gonna be enough room to get up the back and, you know, squeeze in there. So I'll probably have to make extensions. No big deal. So I think at this point now, I have to finish cleaning the drain pan around the outside rim, and then we're gonna mount that. We'll clean up the bolts a little bit, and then we'll get that thrown on there, get that torqued down, and then the bottom end of the tractor should be done. Drain pan is on. I need to tighten the bolts. They're all just started. And the fenders have 2 coats of paint, so these can be mounted. I think I've come up with a solution and kind of figured out mounting them on these end holes is not going to be enough room to get on and off. It's going to be kind of iffy, so I'm just going to make my own extension plates. You can buy them, but they're like between, I'd say, $85 to $110. So I have some plate steel. We're just gonna make our own. That's gonna make life a lot easier. I don't even know where I put it. So this is pretty thick, so this should do pretty good for what I want it to do. I want a width of 5 inches and a length of 9 minimum, and this is perfect. So I'll cut 2 pieces, 5 inches wide, and then basically we just got to figure out where we need to put our holes. And I also brought the radiator back down, and looking in there, I don't know how well you can actually see in there. It's kind of tough, but definitely a lot better than it was, 100%. There's still some passageways that don't look the best, but trying to flush this out and clean it out did a lot better than I was anticipating. It's not perfect. It doesn't look brand new inside, but the flow rate through there, running a hose from the top and going through, it's open very well. So that's a huge plus. Well, not my best work, but it's gonna do what I want it to do. So before I'm even gonna mess with painting that, these holes and the threads and everything, junk. So these need, you know, retapped, because I know I'm not gonna get a bolt in there the way that is. Everything is re-tapped, and I'm gonna be honest, the threads in there aren't the prettiest, but it's one of them things where I'm gonna have to make do with what I have, because I don't know how well it's picking it up. Probably not very good. I mean, there's threads in there. I think it's gonna hold. It's just, I would have liked for them to be a little bit better, but it's fine. It's better than it was. There was like no threads in there before. I think I got bolting it figured out, how I'm gonna do that. So, I think I'm gonna be able to take this first plate that I have and mark it out on the other plate and drill all them other holes. In the meantime, after that, after I get the other one marked, I'm gonna paint that one. That way that one's drying and I can work on it. Well, the plates turned out pretty good. I'm guessing it's gonna kind of be hard to fish the bolts up from the bottom. So I'm thinking we'll fasten these to the fenders first, and then we'll just throw the whole thing up here and then screw everything down that way. I think that's gonna be the best bet. Not that saying that I can't fish them up through there. Maybe I'll try first and see what happens. So it does not, the bolts do not go up. So we're gonna just fasten it to the fenders first, and that's gonna be probably the easiest. Then we'll throw the whole assembly up there and be done. One fender is on. It may look a little weird because it's so high above the tire. And I was gonna say it's crooked, but actually this whole side's leaning because this tire's flat now. The only thing I don't like is, and I guess I could have moved it in a little bit further because there's plenty of room here, well, sort of, but this flexes a lot. So that kind of sucks because, I mean, it's sturdy and it's not like it's gonna bend that. The only other thing I could do, and I may do it, is actually flip the bolt so the nut is on the bottom, and that may stick through far enough that it'll hit the axle here and it won't allow it to flex, because that's where it's moving. It's pivoting right here, and that's basically because we're out so far. Okay. Here's where we're at. Both fenders are mounted, but in a totally different way. So this fender here, we used our extension bracket. Now, these two aren't tight, so it's gonna move a little bit more than it typically would. But as you've seen earlier, that's what that does. I mean, that's ridiculous. So, but that one looks, you know, nice. It's uniform, it's close to the tire, it's not crazy close, it's not crazy far away. That one I think looks good. But then you come over to this one, and this one is basically just to the point where it's fastened to the two outermost holes. Come on this one and try and move it. It's sturdy, very sturdy. However, looks a little bit stupid in my opinion. And part of the other problem is too, is this wheel is actually out further than that one. So this gap will close up a little bit more because we're gonna come way back into here somewhere. So that's gonna change that. And looking from the back, at the clearances as far as, you know, getting on and off, yeah, this one's closer for sure. But this you have, you know, where for you to put a light, which I could remove that and just mount the light somewhere else. I am planning on putting lights on this. But again, I just do not like that. I think it's already hanging low because of the weight. And I just don't like how it moves. You're gonna hang on to that thing to get up here. And then when you're cutting hay or whatever I'm doing, and when I turn around, I'm gonna be pushing. And it's even hard to get on just with that. So yeah, I do this a lot when I'm turning around looking at stuff. I don't feel like I could even put my weight on that. Like, I feel like I wouldn't trust it. This, yeah, I don't hesitate, you know, being able to turn around and do that at all. And quite honestly, yeah, this is far away and looks the best. And even though I spent a crap ton of time on making those extensions, I'm really almost thinking I might just do this, because it kind of gives you a little bit better sense of security, for the simple fact that, one, this doesn't move, and two, it's closer to you. So you feel a little bit better. I don't know. Yeah, it might look a little dumb over here because there's a huge gap, but like I said, this one's gonna move in. So I think what I'll do, I'll pull this one back off, and we'll throw this one on just right here and kind of see what it looks like. And again, I can take that off, because usually when the drawbar hitch was on here, that's what I would use as a step to get on and off. You still do have room here. So for instance, for me to get off, step here, go down to the side, and you can get on and off. You can't run and jump up on here. I mean, it's not, and quite honestly, you shouldn't be doing that on a tractor anyway. That's how accidents happen. So there's this side. Again, yeah, a little gappy, and it's still kind of high, but it doesn't look as stupid as that side, and that side's gonna get moved in. So I don't know what to say. I really personally like how it doesn't move. So another thing I thought of doing, this is where the lights were originally mounted and the wires ran through here. I could either take these out or cut them off, one of the two. Take both of these out on each side, because I'm gonna be running lights on the back of the fenders anyhow. There is this grab handle here. Now I have to mess with the TA lever here, but then you could almost use this as a step and grab the steering wheel and get up the front side, as you would have more room here than you would in the back. So obviously with that there, you only have like a little bit of room. However, on the other side, you have more room, but then you have to deal with, you don't have room in the front. So that kind of leaves this out for this side. But on the back, then you have to deal with the PTO engagement lever, and you have a little bit more room back there on that side. So it's doable the way it is, and you could just get up on this side. So I might just leave it how it is, but quite honestly, I think I'm gonna like that a lot better. Just right now it looks insanely weird to me with fenders on here, because I'm not used to this tractor having fenders. But with me doing what I just did, I wasted a lot of time, like hours, by making those plates, drilling the holes, painting them. This one I didn't even get to use. So I wasted a lot of time doing that when I could have just bolted them fast and been done. But it is what it is. I think that's how we're gonna let it, because it's a lot more sturdy. And you know, some of you might say, well, if you know, you shouldn't be leaning on it and it's gonna shake, whatever. My thought process is too, is if you're going in a bumpy field, that thing's gonna just shake all over the place. So I think we're gonna roll with it how it is, and once the whole tractor and everything's back together, because I think the rear end right now looks super wide, because obviously nothing in the front here is put back together. So anyway, you guys see it how it is. You see it raw, and you know, I make mistakes and mess up. You guys are gonna see it. So this is a perfect example of, you know, and it's not necessarily a mistake, but something I didn't like, and I'm gonna do something to change it to where I do feel comfortable with it. So that's where we're at. So the fenders are on, and the drain pan is on and tightened. All the bolts are tightened for that. So we're making progress, we're moving forward. Tonight was a little bit of 2 steps forward, 1 step back, or 1 step forward, 2 steps back, I guess, because I don't know. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you're enjoying the series. There's definitely a lot more to come for this thing, and it's starting to take shape. It's starting to look like a tractor. So thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any more future uploads, and I'll see you in the next one.